Hello, hello, my love. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today? My name is Talia Joy, and I am so excited to be here with you. This is what we're doing today. We are talking about the evolution, and I've had some energy coming through me hot, I'm going to put it in through this episode. So I don't need to explain it here because by the end you will understand. But it's about this evolution that we are going through, this raising up, we have done the self-growth, we have done the endless fixing. It's about something more. It's about taking all of our bits, the light, the dark, maybe the things you haven't quite healed yet and whatever, gathering us all up and moving into this higher evolution, this higher place in our life, more pleasure, more happiness, more light, more health, more love, and realizing that we don't have to fix it all and strife and hustle and what's the right way. And so there's a whole evolution going on. And that's what I want to talk about today. The evolution, your evolution, how you're not here to fix yourself anymore, how things were moving from the linear into more of this, as I said, more light, more love, more pleasure, more all of that, but bringing that also into real life. So again, this is what we're diving into. I am so happy you're here. If you're new to the show, my name is Talia Joy, and I will talk like that. I will talk out into the cosmos, the bigger things, the metaphors that bring it home. I will root it into the ground with tangible practices and what you need to focus on, and that's what you get here. So I am really excited. This one is a big one, and I just want to say that, like, you're not broken, you're not behind, and I am really excited to bring this episode to you right here, right now, to really talk about it, because you're not broken, because you're not behind. Life has been nudging you. You've had this inner shift. You're really starting to realize and see it deeper and deeper. What if you didn't have to fix yourself into anything else? What if there weren't a million blocks blocking you? What if in your perfection and imperfection, what if in of all of who you really are, you can live that now? You can start attracting more miracles now. You can start living with more purpose, more light now. You have done a lot of growth. We're going to talk about it because we need to outgrow the self-help hamster wheel. That's maybe what I should have called this episode. Maybe I will. The self-help hamster wheel. That's a good one. The constant evaluating, the constant what's wrong with me, what's blocking me. We need to ask less of why is this happening and what is blocking me, and more of what could this be teaching me and what is it asking me to do. That's what we really need to put that focus on, because the overanalyzing, the overfixing is keeping us collectively, self-growth junkies, a lot of spiritual seekers, it's keeping us stuck. But we are wiser now. We've lived, we've healed a lot, we have transcended a lot, we are doing a good job, and we're ready. We're ready for that next level. You only live once this time, and I'm so excited to take you through this episode. And before we dive into the episode, I would love to ask you if you would be willing to leave me a review on whatever podcast listener you are listening to. It just takes a few clickety clicks, a few words it would just mean so much. It really, truly does help. It's what you can do to help the show, to make sure we keep the metaphoric lights on, to make sure that we are spreading the word, spreading the light to everybody worldwide. So if you leave a review, it really does help to boost the show and push it forward. And I also love to read your words. I go to all the platforms and I read the words, and I appreciate it so much. So if you would do that, I would be so appreciative. And whether you do that or do not do that, I hope that you enjoy today's episode. So let's just dive in. Take a sip of water, drop your shoulders, and let's get into it. Okay, so I want to bring your attention to the part of you that is really wise. You've lived, you've seen things. Maybe you had to grow up fast. Maybe you've been through a lot in life. Maybe you've been to a lot of therapy, a lot of counseling like I have. Maybe, you have been through it and grown. Maybe you're an empath and you feel deeply. Maybe you've worked with people in any capacity and learned through people by seeing their stories, by learning what you've learned. Maybe it's textbook education that you've learned and you've become a master in something or a teacher of something. You have lived through so much. already in this lifetime, and you have healed through a lot. You've brought a lot of awareness to things, right? Ooh, maybe this feeling is something called, a something wound or abandonment or attachment styles. Or as I said, you've been to therapy, you've seen things about yourself in some capacity. And I want to say that there is no end game to that. As a human, I think all of us could kind of say, like, we might be doing self growth until the day we die, right? Because there could be always things to grow through. Life is always offering us curveballs. There's always stressors, and that stressor reminds us of childhood, and that stuff's always going to happen. So now that you've moved through so much of that growth, and that's the key part, is I'm not saying self growth isn't important. It's that we've walked through maybe decades of self growth in some way or another, right? The different things we've learned, the shadow and the inner child, and maybe it's behavioral cognitive therapy, maybe it's, the other things you've done. You get it. We have moved through a lot. And the key part here is after we've been humbled and stretched and reshaped, and everything feels scary, and then it feels messy, and then we feel powerful, and then we're reshaped and reborn, and more times than the universe can count. After we've already been doing that, it's okay to start to live it rather than chase it. And as I just said, life will always offer us material. It's always going to give us opportunities to change, to grow, to release, to, stay in the conversation, leave the conversation, do the thing, not do the thing. We are always going to have opportunity to grow. But what really matters right now in this time and space in humanity and on earth and in your life is this time when we start to evolve past that, where we start to, and I don't mean it like you need to evolve past that, stay in therapy, do your counseling. I don't mean that. It's bigger than that. It's meaning we evolve through the mentality that I need to fix myself, that there's something wrong endlessly. We also move through the mentality if something isn't working, maybe it's something in business, maybe it's something in life. If something isn't working, we automatically think, what did I do that caused that? Or what did I do wrong that caused that? Or what kind of block is that? Or is that my shadow? Is that this? And awareness is powerful, but forward momentum is even more powerful at a certain point. And sometimes in our life, there might be something that we truly want and we meditate and it's good, or we journal and it helps a little bit, or you listen to something and you kind of learn something, but you're not really moving forward. Maybe you're looking for the blocks, you're trying to figure out what you did wrong, but underneath all that, you're being invited into a deeper way, into I don't want to say higher consciousness in a pretentious way, but those are the words that I have to use. Higher consciousness. You're being asked to look at something differently and or less dissecting and more being. Less dissecting and more doing in an aligned way. So less what's going wrong and what am I doing to cause this? Or is this a something block, or is it whatever it is? And more, what is this teaching me? And what is this calling me to do? So if something doesn't work in my business, if I put out an offer and maybe it's crickets and no one buys, or, one person buys or something, I used to years ago immediately go to oh, my work isn't good enough. Or maybe it was the marketing, maybe it was the price point, maybe I didn't this, maybe I didn't that. And yes, there's a time and a place to put on your business hat, but we'll get to that in a second. Instead of me automatically thinking that it's my fault and I'm not doing something right, I stop now and for the last few years breathe and go, okay, I'm not going to shame myself. I'm not just going to turn on myself. What is this showing me? And what might be something I can do from here? So what is this showing me? And that's where I might kind of go, yeah, you kind of rushed it, or the marketing wasn't that great, or maybe it's the time of year, or maybe there's something else. What is this showing me? And sometimes I go, it's not about me, meaning it's not Talia, something wrong with me. Maybe it's just that program name kind of sucked. It kind of was lackluster. And maybe, that's something. So then you ask the second part, and what is it asking me to do from here? And maybe let's adjust the marketing, or let's relax for a bit, release, and come back to it in a couple months and kind of reposition the offer or something like that. Or maybe you were on your health journey and then all of a sudden Thanksgiving came, Christmas came, whatever, you're eating all the things. Instead of going, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why did the food addiction, the this, the that. And I'm not making light of the titles. That's not what this is. What I mean is, instead of calling yourself something or shaming yourself for going, why am I doing this? Stop, breathe, and go, what could this be showing me? And what could I maybe do from here? What could this be showing me? I'm in a cycle right now and I feel like I'm in it and I'm in a momentum in a direction I don't want to go, or I ate all that stuff and I don't feel good about myself. Okay, what is this showing me? And what could I do from here? Maybe a walk, maybe releasing self-judgment, maybe having a bath, maybe having a nap and letting it, flow out of you and offering yourself forgiveness and compassion. So we can apply it to whatever we're going through, all different things. It's not what's wrong with me. It's what is this showing me? What is life teaching me? In this time in life right now for you, no matter how old you are when you're listening to this, but I know a lot of you have been through, some of you have been through a decade with me in my business, and you've heard my message evolve, and we've all grown. So wherever you came in, you're growing, you're evolving. There's been 10 years, the last 10 years of how much you've been through and how much you've healed. And I know that at this point you are ready, because there does become a time when our soul starts going like, okay, you only live once this time. This time around in this human experience, it is somewhat finite, and we do want to make the most of it through what we've been through. So from here now is where this matters. Now is where we take everything we've learned and we evolve past the endless fixing hamster wheel and into something more, into your highest good, into the version of you that is no longer trying to fix yourself, but learning to live from love, from purpose, from light, from intuition, from highest good, whatever it is for you, and let that shape every moment. Honestly, a lot of years spent, I have anyway, I'll talk for myself. Honestly, I have spent a lot of years treating self-growth like it's some sort of like competitive sport, not against anyone else, but within myself. It's like I'm trying to get like a gold medal in shadow work, like within myself, like, oh, if I can just decode this, like I'm going to get some sort of, I don't know if it's award or what it is, but I don't want to be the Olympic champion of like, I can handle this myself. I don't want to be the world's strongest woman in multitasking. I don't want to be in emotional weightlifting and win awards for it. Like, I just don't want to do that. All of that built resilience. And I'm joking here because I have a sense of humor, but what I mean is we've spent a lot of time, as I talked about, in that, decoding, trying to figure out, looking at our childhood, drawing strings, making connections. There you go. Seeing patterns. But we don't need to obsess from here. We need to listen. We don't need to hustle. We follow the truth of what our life has become and what we are here for and what our tomorrows, what we want our tomorrows to be, what we want our next chapter to be. Not just in income goals, but how do you want your life to look? And this is what I want to talk about in this evolution. We need to start living from our highest good. And those of you that have been around the block with me, and as you will read in my book, the phrase, learn to love yourself and the rest will fall into place. I won't get into the story, but came to me through my spirit guides in a very pivotal rock bottom, sobbing on the floor moment. And it changed my life. And it was now a decade ago or more. And what it meant at first has evolved, and it's become the pillar of my life without me even, it's grown with me. It's changed with me. It's unreal. It's the healing sort of, I want to say, pill to my life. Learn to love yourself and the rest will fall into place. But how that pertains to this is when we start making choices from our highest good, from love. If I loved myself, what choice would I make? If I surrounded myself with compassion and empathy and I was only nurturing myself, what choice would I make? How would I talk to myself? How would I think? What would I eat? How would I speak when I mess up, when I do something awesome, when I don't do something awesome? That changed my life, that thought of like, whoa. And when I started making choices from my highest good, not from my wounds, not from my fears, not from just instant gratification, it started shifting everything. And I want to be clear, it's not every choice. It's not this like overnight 1 to 10 thing where I'm like, oh, bing, now everything is perfect. It was and still is incremental choices over time, small pivots, small decisions over and over and over. And that still is for me. It's refinement, it's alignment and refinement, right? I've been saying that lately. We start making choices from our highest good. And what I mean by that is the highest good of our mind, our body, our soul. And even beyond that, the highest good of all. And this is one that I should make a whole episode about. But even when you go to the gym or you go for a walk or you drink your water, that is in the highest good of all. Because when you nourish yourself up, when you look after yourself, who you are to your mailman, who you are in your job, who you are to your kids or your family or whoever, that shifts. When you look after yourself, you become someone who radiates more light. So thinking about what decision could I make here in the highest good of all or in my highest good starts to take us out of, again, the wounds or the reactions or the fears, because often we go, I know my highest good, or at least I know where my intuition's leading me. So even when it comes to drinking water or making a lunch that's nourishing or shifting your thinking about something or going on a quick walk on your lunch break instead of being on your phone, like sometimes these, what would be in my highest good? We make these little choices of like, would it be in my highest good to go for a walk, or would it be to be on Instagram for 15 minutes on my lunch break? Probably a walk, right? So starting to think of these little things that we can do and then expanding it even bigger, that it's for the highest good of everybody involved. When you look after yourself, you go home to your kids a different person, or your friends that you're communicating with, you can hold more space for them because you're looking after yourself. And there's lots of different ways that when you look after yourself, the highest good is involved. So starting to live from your highest good, because sometimes it is going for a walk or drinking water, but sometimes it's really not as cute or as easy, and it's letting something go, or it's shutting down a chapter in your life, or not hanging around with certain people as much, or closing a chapter that has been feeling like it's been draining your energy. And sometimes those things are hard. Sometimes surrendering or letting go of something is really difficult, but it can be in your highest good. And that's, in this era, more what we're putting our energy toward than fixing, than obsessing, labeling, or like hustling to get somewhere or to decode ourselves. We don't need to fix ourselves anymore. We need to take that energy and apply it to living from your highest good. So of course, if you say, what would be in my highest good to do this, and then you start running into persistent triggers, persistent struggles, of course, you're going to bring up your self-growth, wisdom, and knowledge and be like, wow, my shadow's really having a hard time with going for a walk, or my inner child, when this is happening, you already have that awareness. So of course, you're going to bring it up. You might journal about it. You might bring it to your therapist. Fine. There's a time and a place to always grow through what you go through. But as a general default setting, we now start making choices from our highest good. What do you want tomorrow to be? Looking after yourself, nourishing yourself, and starting to trust that inner voice more and more and more. As it says, this way, do this, less of this, and paying attention because it's not loud, it's not forceful, it's not dramatic, or at least it's better to listen to it before life forces you, because we all know what happens when you don't listen to something over and over and over. Finally, life forces it to happen, and it's usually not as smooth as it could have been if we would have listened, but it's hard. Anyway, we've grown, right? We're growing, we're evolving, but listening to that inner voice that is steady, that is nudging you, that is honest, that is in your highest good. And that's your intuition, your inner guide, your inner truth. And your intuition has been nudging about this evolution, has been nudging about everything you've been going through, and almost asking or getting you to ask, like, what's next? What's next beyond the growth and the hustle? And how do we turn this up, right? And I'm sure your intuition has been nudging you about the things you're suddenly tired of or exhausted from, the things that your body doesn't want anymore, maybe new things that your body or your mind really does want more of. Maybe it's the situations you used to tolerate that now you feel are just sucking your life force, right? Or maybe it's the sparks of inspiration that won't leave you alone about something, a niggle inside that just is like bursting with excitement. These aren't random. This is your evolution. So wherever you're in right now, and whether you're applying this to business, whether you're applying this to your whole life or your love life, I want you to really start thinking, if it wasn't about fixing or figuring out a block or having someone tell you exactly what to do, and it was more about living from your highest good, what would that look like? How would you approach your dreams? Would some of your dreams shift or change? Do we need to shift or change some of your business or the way you're doing things because it hasn't been in your highest good? Maybe you have been forcing. This is more where we need to put our energy. Less about what's wrong with me and what's going on here, and more about what is this teaching me and what is it calling me to do from here? And it's like you're graduating out of the phase of learning about some of these things for the first time, like what is attachment style, or as I said, inner child, or projection, or, because of your childhood, you felt certain things. And there was a time when we learned these things for the first time and it's like, oh my gosh, breakthrough, right? But you're being asked to graduate. You're being asked to graduate through that. And again, this doesn't mean you can't learn about psychology. There's so much to learn and it's so fascinating, but you learn now from empowerment. You learn because you want to understand yourself more and not learning from because you need to fix yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's not the physical thing you do or don't do. It's the energy behind it. You're in a phase of empowerment, of blossoming, of stepping up. And I want to say so strongly right now, the world needs your light. Allow life to graduate you. Because you are meant for big things. You are here to be expansive. You are a light worker, meaning you have gifts and empathy and expressions to share with the world. You're creative. You care about people. You're empathetic. I'm sure you're hilarious. You're super cute. And those things are things that the world needs. We need your empathy. We need your heart. We need your intuition. We need your caring of others and the light that is in your heart. So life is asking you to graduate as well, to really step into this evolution, because your soul came here far and wide, and you did come here to make a difference in the people that you touch in your life. Whether that's your family, whether it's to do with your career, it's your friend circle, it's something you're passionate about, or something, a passion or a hobby that you put a lot of work into, or your art, whatever it is, you came here to impact us. And as you have gone through all this refinement and all this self-growth, we are ready to see you. We are ready to feel that medicine out in the world, in the way that you walk around, in how you interact with people on your block when you're going for a walk, or the cashier at the grocery store, or the nurse you're interacting with, or your mailman, or your husband or your wife. Like, these are the people that also benefit from your light when you turn it on, when you buff it up. So I just got this image of like a diamond. Life has been like, you learned about shadow work, you learned about this, you learned about that, you started to heal, parts of your childhood, and it almost was creating and carving out the diamond, all the different facets, all the different angles. And now you're just ready to buff, buff, and let the light bounce off of you and radiate out into the world. I don't know if any of that made sense to anyone else, but you're a diamond. Life is buffing you. You don't need to carve out any angles anymore. You're good. It's time to glow. It's time to just get to it, get to the light, if that makes sense. So life is trying to move us into this evolution. And I think of, some of you that have been in my community for close to a decade. We have grown, we have evolved, and it is time to move forward. You're being asked to spend more time feeling alive, feeling anchored, feeling in meaning, in purpose, expanded, less time feeling drained, feeling contracted, or just always meh, right? And I get that. I've lived in meh for a long time, between juggling chronic pain and, of course, the stressors of being a parent. And a lot of us have gone through financial up and downs and, all the relationships we have. And again, our childhood, our family, there's been a lot in my life too, and I know there's been a lot in yours, and life is moving us out of that, out of the suffering, and into something more. So I'm just going to talk one more time about how this time is really about opening up into deepening love for yourself, but we're going to take it deeper, but how love can lead you. So it's one thing, love yourself. Okay, cool, sure. But we're now at the stage where it's not a cute quote, it's an operating system. Sometimes loving yourself deeply looks like making a wildly aligned investment in yourself that's like huge. And you're like, oh my God, this is massive. Sometimes it's taking a nap. Sometimes it's drinking your green juice. And sometimes it's eating your chocolate. You guys know me, right? Sometimes it's honoring your truth and giving yourself empathy and compassion instead of judging yourself. Sometimes it's choosing peace or to not respond over trying to prove something or try to, be on top. Sometimes it's going for that job that you're terrified to go for, but your inner voice is like, do it. It can look like so many different things. But loving yourself, acting from your highest good is how you evolve. Not from hustling, not from grinding, not from performing spiritual and emotional gymnastics. It's by loving yourself into your next step, nurturing yourself into your next step. So even let's take it something tangible. When I think about my business and I'm building the business plans and what I want to do in 2026 and where this goes and all that stuff, I'm creating plans. I'm creating, bringing visions into reality. But I'm starting with, where do I feel excited to show up? What feels next for me, even if it's scary? What do I feel ready to release or let go of? What do I see myself in and becoming in this next stage? How do I really want to serve people? What would nourish my life and also nourish their life? What creative ideas have I had that just won't let me go? Where do I want to spend time? Where do I want to express myself? What feels in the highest good of my community? That's where I start to build the business plan. And then say I'm going, I feel really called to talk about this one thing. Okay, what would be a really aligned, juicy way that I could offer something on intuition? Or maybe it's people starting, heart-led businesses or whatever. Okay, where could I start that? And that's how we start to funnel in the physical plan. So whether you're thinking about your health or your business or your general life, what feels exciting? What feels supportive? What feels wildly aligned? What would be nurturing yourself into your next level? How can you nurture yourself and love yourself into health? If you loved yourself and nurtured yourself max amounts and you were applying it all to health, that might be getting up and going for a quick walk in the morning, doing your stretches at night. It might be, investing in a juicer and doing some juicing, or maybe it's about experimenting with new recipes. Maybe it's about joining a class or going back to yoga. What would nurturing yourself into health look like? Nurturing your dreams into your business. Making sure you're supporting yourself and you're taking enough time off and you're spending time in creativity, nurturing the ideas you have for your business, not just always externally looking out there. Or say I look at my business and I look at how much I made in 2025, and then I start going, how do I just beat that by 25% and force? That's not going to be the way to beat it by 25%. I'm going to beat it by 111% by showing up in authenticity, in excitement, in inspiration, in creativity, and then following it through physically, creating it into life. But it's starting from love, from nurturing, from highest good of all. So no matter what area you look at in your life, how can you love yourself into love, into feeling confident, into expressing yourself? And then we take that and make it into tangible actions. But it's not grinding and it's not hustling and it's not out there. It's in here. Action still matters, but in this evolution, it's different now. And this is important. This isn't just a passive chapter in your life. It's a guided chapter. So action matters. Action is what brings it into physical form. But again, it's not frantic, it's not fear-based. It's not some cold step-by-step thing coming from somebody else that doesn't even feel right for you. It's responsive action. It's responding to life. It's inspired action. It's aligned action. It's excited action. It's action that comes from that part of you that knows, I'm here once this time. I've healed so much. I've learned so much. I'm not wasting that wisdom I've earned. I'm doing the thing now. And that's where the fire comes from. That's where the quote unquote motivation or energy, or like people go, how do you put out all these podcast episodes? How do you have all this stuff? Because it lights me up inside. But you know what? I've had to cut down on a lot of things that don't light me up, even in my personal life or in my everyday life, to make space to do this much of, one thing. But it's because I get done recording and I feel more alive than when I started. It's right for me. So it's a physical business thing and it's a part of the physical business plan, but I choose the avenues that light me up, and I get raw and I get honest with myself when something starts to feel out of alignment or starts to feel off. Whether it's in health, I've gone from being vegan to eating, high protein, high meat, to not plant-based, but like focusing a lot around the earth, to more Mediterranean. I eat with the seasons. It's never one thing. It's responding to what my body wants. It's inspired. Sometimes I want like a really good vegetarian meal. Sometimes I want a soup or a stew. Sometimes I want a smoothie. But I don't want a smoothie usually in December. I usually want a smoothie in the summer. I know that sounds very weird, but what this means is our inspiration will shift and change and guide us through our seasons. So you don't need to know all the steps. You don't need to know everything that's coming for you. You need to know what matters to you and where you are headed, and knowing that you are enough right now to do the thing, to be the thing, to create the things that are on your heart. The old you maybe took action because she felt behind. I know I did for a long time, or just because I had a goal and I should be there by now and blah, blah, blah. But the new us takes action because you're ready, because the weight on your heart that says you are meant for more starts to feel so heavy that the cost of not taking action becomes more. So it reminds me of the quote, when the risk to remain tight in a bud became more than the risk it took to blossom. You are in a place where you are ready to blossom. And there's lots of ways you've already blossomed, but you're in this evolution of, yes, more abundance, more health, more connection, more love, not because you are broken, not because you are behind, but because you're destined for it. And this is the life you get to live this time. And I want to remind you that you are love, and you are here to spread light to the people that are in your household, to the people in your community, the people you already interact with in an everyday way. You bring light. You bring empathy. You bring humor. You bring heart. You bring presence. So it's time to fully live that. Express it. You only live once this time. If it's been health that you've been wanting to shift for so long, the time is now, because you deserve it. Because life will be even more nourishing on the other side, because it's in your highest good to look after yourself, to get the rest, to drink the water. If you've been wanting to start a business or pivot or expand or something, this is the time. It's on your heart. You've learned so much. You've grown so much. Be it now. I'm going to share, I think I shared in an episode, but a while ago in this past year, there was a time when I was feeling frustrated with my business and I wasn't clear what was going to happen and all the stuff and, what I wanted to pour into, and it felt hard. And I was saying to my team, or maybe just in my head, in my own mind, saying like, after 10 years, like I thought it would be easier in some ways. And any of you in business, give me an amen. And my team said to me back, are you acting like somebody with 10 years experience? Are you holding space like somebody with 10 years experience? Are you, charging as someone who has 10 years experience? Are you owning that and holding that confidence of someone with 10 years experience? And definitely at the time, I was like, no. And now I've moved into that. It's taken me months since I first received that, but it really helped me to go, yeah, it's either it should have happened by now, or are you acting like somebody who has been through all of this, who is self-led, who is scrappy AF, who is resilient, and who is meant for big things. And sometimes we just need to hear that and we go, yeah, you're right. Okay, F it, I'm ready. The risk to stay tight in a bud becomes more than the risk it takes to blossom, and that's it. And I can't force you into that place, and nothing can make you be in that place. It's something you choose, and you're ready for it, because you're not here to be perfect, and you're not here to just perform. You're here to move and act on what feels true to you. So that is where your clarity will come from. That is where the boundaries come from. That's where your intuition will lead you. That's where you start to feel more joy, when you're in the highest good, when you're acting from a place of alignment and readiness and light, not just from force or hustle or trying to grow ourselves and de-block ourselves forever. This is living in your evolution, moving toward what you want and moving forward with your dark patches, with your light patches, with everything in between, because life will life, and we are a multi-dimensional being, and nobody ever said you had to be perfect to move forward. So I'm telling you, you don't have to be perfect to move forward. Let's do this together. I'm the least perfect person, but we're doing it. We are expanding, we are growing, we are moving into more of who we are. You do not need to fix yourself, and I do not need to fix myself. I will use the tools every day. I will grow through what I go through, and I'm ready to move forward. And I know you are too. So I hope that this has resonated with you today. I want to just encourage you to sum this all down into asking yourself, what would be in my highest good today? And whether it's being self-compassionate, whether it's giving yourself a rest or a break or a bath or something. Maybe it's something that you buy for yourself, like a weekend away or a new winter coat or some nice warm fuzzy socks to keep you warm. Maybe it's a big wild investment that you've been putting off. Maybe it's going for a walk after dinner. What would be in your highest good today? And as you do it, choose something small. What is the smallest, most easily approachable thing or easy to approach thing that I could do for myself? And as you do it, bring attention to, I am doing this in love. I am doing this out of my highest good. I am turning this corner. I am evolving. I am in my light. And as you build yourself up, as you quote unquote fill your cup, as you pour into yourself with love, clarity comes, bravery comes, confidence comes, and the path continues to evolve. So I am here for you. I would love to support you on this journey. If you've been interested, you want to kind of dip your toe into my work, we have our clarity and momentum sessions, which is just 2 sessions as the commitment instead of signing up for 2 months or something like that. We will move you forward, and then you can see how you feel after that. So I will put the link to that below, as well as the Path app that you can try for 5 days free, meditations, journal prompts, reflections, somatic practices, sleep tracks, so many things there. The link for that is below as well. And just reminding, if you are willing to do a review on your podcast app, it would mean the world to me. Thank you, my friend, for being here. Thank you for being on this journey. It's not always easy, but we are evolving, and I'm so proud of you, and I'll see you in the next episode.